Hey, what's going on everyone? Misha Wilson here and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Now in today's video and in the next few videos, I have something really special planned for you, and I'm actually going to be bringing you some behind the scenes footage from one of our workshops that people paid over $10,000 to go ahead and attend, where I'm going to be sharing with you specifically how to create a cult-like following within your business, how to create a following of people who absolutely know, like, trust, and absolutely love you, people who purchase from you and then buy from you over and over and over again. And most importantly, people who want to spread your message and essentially share your message in a viral way based on the fact that they are such loyal fans. All right, this is one of, if not the most valuable lessons that I've ever learned in my internet marketing journey when it comes to really how to build a relationship with and monetize an email list. I learned this from my mentor, Dagan Smith. And once again, this is a specific, episode that I just shared at a workshop with people who paid over $10,000 to go ahead and attend. And I know you'll get a ton of value. Now, as always, if you do, don't forget to let me know in the comments section below what your biggest takeaway is from this video. And don't forget to go ahead and hit that subscribe button and that bell icon notification button so that you're notified when I do more videos just like this. With that said, let's go ahead and dive right in. Building emails without the frustrating writer's block. Now, what did I do in that headline? Just to recap real quick.
You put culture in quotes.
I did do that, but
You have cash and then you have frustrating.
you see the formula?
Yeah.
How to get benefit without
And
pain.
that's another lesson that you can load up somewhere, a how-to lesson. That's the way you're going, right?
Well, no, I'm saying I taught you earlier in the workshop headline formula, how to get benefit without pain, right? How to write cash-producing, culture-building emails without the frustrating writer's block. It's the same thing, right? So this is how you turn your audience and your email list subscribers into raving fans who can become a cult if you can build culture using these strategies, right?
Is that what we are, a cult?
No. So having said that, and I'll dive specifically into the actual deployment via email marketing in a little while, in the second part of this actual presentation, but this whole strategy revolves around a strategy called talk radio email. You approach your email list as a talk radio news station where there's songs and there's ads and there's songs and there's ads, right? And if the song is good enough and if you like tuning in to the actual song, that's your station, right? I have a certain station, that's the station I listen to when I drive. When ads go, that's still my station, right? I still tune in. So your goal is to write an email in the morning with your song, your entertainment, your value, right? And then a direct sales message in the evening with the actual offer, which is the ad, right? Which is the commercial break. Now, we'll talk a little bit more about the actual strategy moving forward. Understand that 2 emails a day to your list might freak you out, and it might be like, oh my God, am I emailing too much? It's actually the opposite. The more you email, the more your list becomes more responsive if you're doing things correctly, right? If you're using the attractive character, which we're going to dive into here today. And the cleaner your list gets, because the people who don't identify with you and the people who aren't actually into what you have to say unsubscribe and they leave. And so you're left with 100 loyal versus 100,000 people who don't care who you are, which is much more valuable, right? 100 loyal fans can make you a lot of money. 1,000 loyal fans can build a huge business for you, right? So this presentation is really going to be about how to build loyal fans using the attractive character, and then how to deploy the attractive character using email marketing. You should also deploy the attractive character in every different component of your marketing. On your webinars, in your sales videos, with your Facebook Lives, with your videos, with your blog posts, everywhere, all right? So, having said that, don't worry about perfectionism, please, when writing emails, all right? Email every single day, ideally 2 times per day. Leverage the attractive character in every single email. People will opt in for your content. They will stay in your world based on the relationship that they have with the attractive character. Does that make sense? Yeah? So, as an example, when an email inbox hits your inbox and you ignore it, there's no relationship. When I send an email to your guys' list, you probably are going to open it, right? Because we have that relationship. So, look at every email as an ongoing conversation with your subscribers, and and you're just simply offering solutions within your conversation. Email marketing has to be conversational, right? That's the goal. Consistency wins, and that's a big one that I need all of you to get, and Dan touched on yesterday. Consistency wins. If you email for a month and don't get the results that you want to, if you're consistent for 3 months, you're gonna get better results, especially if you improve your skill sets along that period of time. And then you build up that pipeline effect that we talked about yesterday, right? Where when you're consistent enough, every day someone's reading your blog posts, watching your videos, buying your offer, coming through the boot camp, seeing the pro offers, etc., right? There's always an action being taken when you're really consistent, but nothing happens if you're not really consistent, all right? Question for you guys. What do you think the most important part of an email is when it comes to getting it open? Anything else?
The body.
PS.
Think outside the box. What's the most important component, the most important thing when it comes to getting your emails opened? Subject. The person sending the email. If your mother sends you an email, does it matter what the subject line is? Right? Not that much. So subject lines do matter. You want to be aware of how to write subject lines, and we'll give you some formulas here at the end. But having said that, if you have the best subject line in the world, but people don't want to hear from you, what's going to happen? They're not going to open, right? Having said that, would you open an email if you're a Californication fan, if it was sent from Hank Moody? Right? Who here likes that show? I liked it, right? You hated it?
I loved it.
Oh, okay. It went on about 4 seasons too long, but it was good besides that. But Hank Moody's a perfect example of an attractive character, of someone who his personality is something that people are attracted to based on certain characteristics that they intentionally created within his character in order to have people bond with that character who watched the show. So who here watched the show again? Yeah? So let me ask you a question. No matter how much stupid shit he did, didn't you still root for him? Absolutely. Yeah. Didn't you always want him to get, the girl, the wife? No matter how many times he got her and then let her go, right? You still rooted for him. He created empathy, identification. He was just funny, his mannerisms. He wasn't boring, right? Who here watches Sons of Anarchy? Or who here has watched any Sons of Anarchy? Jax Teller, how many people did he kill? Everyone, right? Did you still feel a sense of wanting him to, rooting for him, right? Getting behind him. Even though he did bad things, his character was someone who you rooted for based on certain elements that they created within his actual character that got you to have empathy with him, identification with him, and got you behind him, right? That's what you want to do in your marketing. So, having said that, the elements of the attractive character, and we're going to dive through all of them here. This is going to be a little bit advanced too. This is something we cover in the Maui Intensive, so you guys are getting the goods here. Understand this lesson, understand how important this lesson is. This is one of the things that Dagan paid 10 grand to learn in a day, right? Yeah, paid 10 grand for a day to work with John Alanis. John Alanis taught him the attractive character, told him to email twice a day, and his business went from 4 to 8 to 16 to 20 or to 32, and so on and so forth. He doubled his profits. So the attractive character has an identity, all right? And this is your identity in the marketplace. What I mean by identity is who you are to the people that follow you, all right? Are you the leader? A leader is a really good place for all of you to start because you don't need to be an expert in order to be a leader. All right? You don't need to be an expert. You're just on a journey leading people. So if you position yourself as a leader and you let people know, I'm on this mission and I'm going to make it happen come hell or high water, you position yourself as the leader, right? The reluctant hero. The reluctant hero is more the expert who has been in the industry for a while, or the expert who doesn't like the spotlight, but even though he doesn't like the spotlight, he sacrifices that and he actually is out there marketing and doing his thing because he understands that the marketplace needs his knowledge, right? He's the reluctant hero. A reluctant hero is still a hero, right? The evangelist. The evangelist is the person who goes out and interviews everybody, you know, the reporter, the person who goes out and comes to events like this and then reports back, brings people on their adventure, which is kind of similar to the adventure crusader, right? But the evangelist is more the person who reports and kind of more or less leverages other people's results, leverages other people's knowledge before they have their own, right? Now again, I would rather, if I was getting started, position myself as a leader, but I'd probably do leader/evangelist, right? Again, you don't need any level of social proof to be an evangelist. You're just someone who really loves the industry, loves what's going on, and you're out there bringing the message of other people back to your following, right? Last is the adventurer crusader, adventurer/crusader. And that's the person who goes out and goes to all the events, goes on wild adventures, goes to the Bahamas, the tropics, Maui, takes their group of people with them, right? So you have to specifically identify which one of these you are in order to have your audience understand what you're doing and have your audience come on the journey with you, right? So what would you guys say that you should probably start as? Leader?
Leader/evangelist.
Yeah. Adventure Crusader, I mean, that's another one where you can start, right? You don't need huge levels of social proof. The only one is it's hard to be a reluctant hero when you haven't had any level of result yet, right? Because you're reluctant to come to the marketplace, but you haven't done anything. So it's kind of like, what? So define who you are in the marketplace and understand that it's important. Next, the attractive character has a backstory. So all event, we've been talking about stories, right? What does your story do? Bond, right? It creates a bond. It creates identification. It allows people to understand who you are on a personal level versus just the dude who's making money on the internet, right? What's that? Yeah, the guru, right? The person that you get what I'm saying. So it allows you to create identification with your audience. Remember, identification is the fastest path to trust. How many of you guys have heard my backstory before you came here, right? There's a reason why I tell that backstory, like I've spoken about at this event so far. Identification is the fastest path to trust. Your story should be made up of pains that your audience can identify with, preceded by a breakthrough that your audience wants. Does that make sense? Stuck, struggling, overwhelmed, spinning my wheels, found the thing, broke through, lifestyle, freedom, no JOB. Now, having said that, if you haven't created your massive level, your massive breakthrough yet, understand that still, if you've just created that first breakthrough, and if you're just on the journey, right, you're still farther ahead of anybody else. And if you position yourself as the evangelist/leader who's on the journey to riches after being in the state of pain that your audience is in, it's the same thing, right? It allows you to create identification. Now, it's best if it goes super low to super high. Living in a van to millionaire, right? Evicted from 2 homes to 6-figure earner 6 months later. Now, you can actually strategically engineer a super low to super high story in different aspects of your marketing. So as an example, who in here hasn't ever really this group's a little bit more advanced, but who here hasn't generated a lead? Not many people. So Ina, you've never generated a lead, right? Now, if you were to go out and purchase a 1,000-click solo ad and send it directly to a capture page that tested and proven to convert at 40%, right? You generate just about 400 leads if you pick the right person to buy traffic from. So your story is now from never generating a single lead to generating 400 leads in a single day overnight, right? Super low to super high. Now again, that's one of those things that it's to increase the power of your story. It's not absolutely necessary. But again, it's an archetype that people can identify with, right? It's an archetype that people want, and the story of low, the pain, is the archetype that people identify with. So let's look at some of mine, all right?
Loss of tennis career, find internet marketing, get stuck in shiny object syndrome, $9,755 in debt, evicted 2 times, moved to Las Cruces, moved back in with my dad. What's all that? Story pains. But these are story pains that my audience can identify with. Who here has lost something that you love, right? Who here has lost a passion, a hobby that you love? Music, right? Loss of tennis career, that's a loss of redemption. And then all pains that my marketplace can identify with. I broke through, crossed 6 figures, then multiple 6 figures, then multiple 7 figures. Story, backstory, pain, my marketplace can identify with, breakthrough to my current reality that my marketplace wants. So see how it's about what my marketplace wants? And you see how in my marketing, what am I looking for here? In my marketing, there are certain things I don't say. I'm not lying, all right? But there are certain things I don't say that are true because I know my marketplace doesn't want it, all right? So in my story, I talk about traveling the world, getting to speak on stage, getting to go to events all the time, getting to travel whenever I want, because I know that's what my marketplace wants. I don't talk about working 12 hours a day like I do, right? I'm not lying. If someone asks me, how much do you work? I tell them I work a lot, right? But having said that, there's certain elements of your story that you want to tell and amplify because that's what your audience wants. Does that make sense? On the same page? Super low to super high. 9,000.
Do you go like 3 lows down or?
There's not a set formula. I mean, story down, story down, story down, story crash.
Okay.
That can work well always. But having said that, that's a good question. The more gruesome you're willing to get with your story, the more people will follow, all right? So if you're willing to tell that story that really kind of hurts, people will follow because people feel that way, right? If you're out there just saying traffic lead sales, follow up all the time, you seem fake. If you're willing to tell that story that people, again, can really kind of come into your world and get behind you, right? Remember, Hank Moody did stupid shit all the time. You still got behind him, right? You wanted to get behind him. You actively rooted for him. That's what you're trying to do here. The attractive character has a moral code. And this is a big one. So the definition of your moral code is a code of behavior that you have and you never break, no matter what the end result is to you. So whether it benefits you or whether it harms you, you never break your code, right? What's an example of this? Part of my moral code is that I never, and I might have this on a coming slide, but part of my moral code is that I never, ever, ever post huge screenshots on Facebook. I'm not super hypey on Facebook. I'm not sharing, 10 million, 2.7 million screenshots, buy here, click here now. I'm not perpetuating drama on Facebook, even though if I did, I could potentially make more sales, right? I stand against that with my moral code. Very few people have a moral code, and so if you have a moral code, you immediately differentiate yourself from other people, and the people who do have a moral code, guess what? They break it really often, right? So if you make it known to your followers, to your prospects, what your moral code is, no get rich quick, no wanting the system to do all the work for you, and again, I'm gonna run through all these, but these are just examples. No posting hypey crap on Facebook. If you make that known, then you never break it. You're someone who stands for something, and you do what you're gonna say. And who here thinks that that's attractive, right? See how that creates attraction? When you have and live by a moral code, it makes you attractive, it makes you stand out as someone worth actually following, which is what I just touched on. The key, figure out what your moral code is and then never break it, all right? Now your moral code should also, and I'll get into this a little bit more, your moral code should also lead people to buying your products, all right? Never lie, but your moral code should lead people to buying your products. And I'll get into how you do that in a minute. Having said that, don't push your moral code down your prospect's throat. This is how you have to do it now, adopt my moral code, right? Don't push it down their throat. Tell your prospects what your moral code is and make them come up to your level, right? Make them aspire to be like you. Make them want to be better based on them wanting to come up to your level by adopting your moral code.